I didn't think anything special would come out of this one. It was a Tuesday afternoon in Fort Myers, Florida. Hot, sticky. I'd been watching a few local storage auctions online, hoping to score something fun. Maybe some tools, vintage signs, or collectibles I could flip. Nothing too crazy. Then this unit popped up, $400 starting bid. Barely any photos. Just a dark, dusty corner with some trash bags, and a few boxes. But there was something odd about it. One image showed the tail end of what looked like a tire peeking from under a tarp. It was barely visible, framed in shadows. But my gut told me there was more here. Most bidders ignored it. Maybe they saw junk. I saw potential. So I placed a bid for $100. No one else bid. It was mine. I picked up the key 2 days later. As I pulled into the facility, I remember thinking, this is either going to be the biggest bust of my life, or the craziest story I'll ever tell. The unit was quiet, undisturbed. Dust coated everything like a fine powder. The air smelled like oil, rubber, and time. I slid open the metal door, and sunlight rushed in, revealing a forgotten world. Boxes, bags, a few rusted tools. And then I saw it again. That tarp. It was heavy canvas, beige and thick with grime. I stepped closer, heart pounding. Underneath it, a shape, long, low, and unmistakably automotive. My fingers trembled as I lifted a corner. What I saw stopped me cold. Headlights. Round, glassy. A low hood with sculpted lines. Chrome that had dulled with age but still glinted faintly in the sun. It wasn't a junker. It was a car. And not just any car. The curves were unmistakable. I knew it immediately, not from owning one, but from staring at pictures online, dreaming about what it would be like to sit behind the wheel. This was a 1971 Bizzarrini 5300 GT Strada. I dropped the tarp. No way. I whispered. These things don't just show up in abandoned storage units. Only a few dozen were ever made. Most are in museums or private collections in Europe. The last one I saw at auction sold for over $800,000. I circled it. The body was intact. Fiberglass shell. Italian styling. The paint was faded red, almost burnt orange now. Dust clung to it like it hadn't seen daylight in decades. The tires were deflated but the rims, those rare Campanolo magnesium wheels, were there. Original. I opened the driver's side door. It creaked, resisting. Inside, leather seats cracked with age, the wooden steering wheel dulled. The classic Viglia gauges peeking from the dashboard like eyes remembering the road. The keys were still in the ignition. I sat down. This wasn't a replica. This wasn't some kit car thrown together in someone's garage. It was the real thing. I didn't know what to do. Call someone. Start filming. Scream. Instead, I started looking through the rest of the unit. I found a few documents in a moldy box under a tarp. Old DMV papers, an Italian logbook, and a certificate from a car show dated 1987, Monterey, California. The owner's name was handwritten, G. Moretti. I googled it. Giorgio Moretti, former amateur racer, Italian immigrant, died in 2003. No known family, no estate records. Apparently, this car had been in storage ever since, untouched for over 20 years. It was like time had swallowed it, and forgotten to digest. I spent the next 3 hours carefully inspecting everything. Under the hood, there it was. The V8 engine sourced from Chevrolet, tuned by Giotto Bizzarrini himself. Dusty, but complete. The odometer, 11,236 miles. Everything matched. Chassis number, VIN, badges. This was a surviving, original Bizzarrini 5300 GT Strada, and it was mine for $400. But here's the thing. I didn't want to just flip it. I wanted to understand it. Over the next few weeks, I started contacting experts, restorers, collectors. A guy in Italy, who had spent the last 30 years cataloging every Bizzarrini ever made. He nearly fainted when I sent him the pictures. This one was lost, he said. No one knew where it went. Turns out, Giorgio Moretti had raced it briefly in local Florida events in the 80s before retiring it. He had no heirs, no public records of its final location. It had simply vanished. Until now. I spent the next 4 months restoring it. Not alone, I had help. A vintage shop in Tampa agreed to take it on for a reduced rate, just for the chance to work on something so rare. We documented every step, polished the body, rebuilt the engine, reupholstered the interior using original materials sourced from Italy. Every weekend I'd visit and sit inside, imagining the roads it had seen. By spring, it was ready. We unveiled it at a local classic car show. The crowd gathered immediately. Some people didn't know what they were looking at. Others did, and couldn't believe it. One guy offered me $1.1 million on the spot. I said no, because this wasn't just a car anymore. It was a story, a legacy, a reminder that sometimes, In the most unexpected places, the past waits patiently for someone to uncover it. I still take it out once a month, drive it on Sundays. The roar of that V8 echoes through the streets like a memory refusing to die. And every time I slide behind the wheel, I think about that $400 storage unit. How many others are out there, holding treasures no one's touched in decades? So next time you see a dusty tarp, in a half-hidden shape, don't walk away, because sometimes, that's all it takes. The story didn't end with the car show. Word spread. A month later, I got an email from a private museum in Switzerland. They wanted to feature the Bizzarrini in a rotating exhibit on Lost Legends of European Engineering. Expenses covered. 6-month stay. Insurance at full appraised value. $1.3 million. I hesitated. This thing had become a part of me, but I also knew letting people see it was the right call. So, I agreed. A few weeks later, a climate-controlled container arrived, with 2 guys in white gloves, who treated the car like it was the Holy Grail. When it landed in Geneva, I flew out, and when I saw it under the lights, polished, restored, surrounded by velvet ropes and silent admirers, I felt proud, like I'd rescued something sacred. That night, I got dinner with the museum curator. He was in his 60s, soft-spoken, and had spent most of his life tracking rare vehicles across Europe. "What's next for you?" he asked, sipping wine. "You've already found something most collectors would chase for decades." I laughed. "Honestly, I've got no idea. But I'm hooked now. This wasn't just luck. I think it's time to go all in." He nodded. "Then I'll give you one tip." He leaned closer. "Look for units that stopped paying right after the 2008 financial crash. That's where the secrets are." That was all I needed. When I got back to the States, I started digging deeper. I pulled lists, talked to old-timers in the auction game. I filtered for storage facilities in wealthy neighborhoods, people who had money but lost it fast. Doctors, entrepreneurs, racers. And then I found one. Naples, Florida. A unit untouched since 2009. Owner, Richard D. No forwarding address. Inside, one motorcycle under a sheet. A few boxes labeled, documents, and a mysterious silver cylinder the size of a barrel. I won the auction for $610. I know this sounds crazy, but when I opened that unit, I found the original blueprints for a prototype Lotus car that never went into production, hand-signed by Colin Chapman himself. But that's another story. Back to the Bizzarrini. After the museum exhibit ended, the offers got wilder. One collector offered to trade me a Ferrari 250 GTE plus $400,000 cash. Another wanted to fly me to Monaco, wine and dine me, and discuss possibilities. But I kept saying no, because sometimes, it's not about the money. It's about the thrill, the mystery, the chance to find a needle in a haystack and pull it out in front of the world, dusty and glorious. And that's what this channel is about now. Not just flipping storage units for profit, but unearthing the past, saving it, sharing it. We've built a tiny community of treasure hunters. Some watch for fun. Some are out there, bidding, searching, discovering. And every time someone sends me a message like, "You inspired me to go to my first auction," I feel like I passed something on. The truth is, I don't know what I'll find next. Could be an old jukebox, could be junk, could be another $1 million secret waiting quietly under a tarp. But one thing's for sure, I'll keep showing up. And maybe, just maybe, you will too.